Hi guys. I don't go to a lot of gun shows, maybe 2 or 3 a year. Some years I don't go to any gun shows. Sometimes I'll go many years in between going to gun shows. One thing I've noticed in the past, if you would go to a gun show, the crowd would be 90 to 95% white males. Lately I have noticed a huge change. There are lots of blacks at gun shows, lots of Hispanics, lots of Asians, and probably the biggest increase is the number of women at gun shows. I think that's a great thing. The more minorities, the more women, the more people in general we have enjoying shooting sports, the more likely we are to be able to continue to enjoy our rights to have firearms. Gun control is nothing new. Gun control has been around for as long as there have been guns, and a lot of people may not know that a lot of the first gun control laws were aimed at minorities to keep guns out of the hands of minorities. It's funny that the media tries to portray gun owners as racists when it's actually the gun controllers who have been racist historically. Some of the first firearms laws, even before the United States was the United States, in Louisiana, for example, it was illegal for a black person to carry anything that was a weapon, could be considered a weapon, or could be used as a weapon, up to and including a cane. And any citizen who saw a black person with a weapon was legally allowed to disarm the black person, and if the black person refused to give up the arms, they were actually allowed to legally shoot and kill the black person, for carrying a weapon. There are lots and lots of examples of this, and some of them are really from unexpected places. In the early 1800s, Georgia, of all places, passed a law trying to outlaw all handguns, and that was struck down as being unconstitutional, which it is and was. And still to this day, people are trying to pass laws restricting our Second Amendment rights. And so far, the courts have had our back, but with recent Supreme Court rulings where the Supreme Court seems to be making laws instead of interpreting laws, anything can happen. I heard yesterday here in North Carolina that one of our politicians is trying to introduce a bill that anyone who transfers a firearm to another person who then uses that firearm to commit a crime can be held accountable for that crime. Now, in a sane world, that bill would have no chance of passing anywhere. Lots of civil rights groups, lots of minority groups are actively campaigning for gun control. And if people understood the history of gun control, they would see that the roots of gun control are racist, and gun control does not prevent crime. Ironically, minorities are some of the people who could benefit the most from having a firearm. Many minorities live in inner cities that have very high crime rates, the highest crime rates in the country. The vast majority of crime victims, the vast majority of gun crime victims are minorities. Minorities need to be able to defend themselves. Please do yourself a favor. The internet is a wonderful thing. Google first gun laws, Google racist gun laws, anything along those lines, and you'll come up with hundreds, thousands of articles. Gun control really took off after the Civil War, and the reason for that is with thousands and thousands of freed slaves. People in the South, Democrats by the way, look it up, were worried about blacks being able to obtain guns. That's where a lot of the first gun laws in the country came from, trying to keep guns out of the hands of blacks and Hispanics. I think it's a great thing that we're seeing lots more women and minorities getting involved in firearms, getting involved in shooting sports, taking care of their own defense. Police cannot be everywhere, and there have been so many cases recently that point that out. You need to, especially in your home, be in charge of your own self-defense. All right, guys, you may agree or disagree with me, but it's an easy thing to look up. Almost all of the early gun laws were not about guns. They were about trying to control minorities, trying to keep guns out of the hands of minorities. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.